Hey, Z, get him on. Tell him we live. About to run another one. Robot, YouTube, y'all give the game. We back in the building with that next installment. We back in the building with that next installment. Never have it been made so clear. A new reign supreme. We have a chance to forge for ourselves a new world order. We're about to crack heads and twist caps, no doubt. This is the Chronicles, the Anunnaki storyline. We're giving the whole storyline here, man. All the way through. We're going to be running these theories. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel. Never have it been made so clear. We're going to give them time to get in here. We're going for part 3. If you hadn't checked out those other parts, part 1 and part 2, we got those out, man. And we're going to be keeping it clean, YouTube. The storyline. We went over yesterday how the journey is within. We start on a microcosmic level. The Big Bang is when your father releases into your mother. And on that one little ship, it's close to 8 million of you on that one ship coming out from the microcosmics. But only 1, maybe 2, sometimes 3. Hell, we done heard up to 8 making it at one time in the Stargate. The Stargate is the oval, the egg, the womb. So we broke all that down on the last taste. Now we're going into more of the schematics of this thing. You want to get in here, man. Ain't nobody doing it like we doing it. We cracking heads. We twisted caps. We're giving them a couple minutes before we take off, man. Right, so like I say, if you want to hit that like, hit that subscribe button for your brother, we'll gladly appreciate that. All right, let me get this laptop loaded up. Hey, look like they gonna flag us. YouTube, we gotta keep it clean. You know, these Anunnaki tapes, y'all like these, YouTube like these tapes, they usually do a check on them pretty fast. Because this stuff is like, you know, it's never have it been made so clear. Let me share that. Let me switch to that laptop for you. Let's see what's taking so long with it. Okay, I am on the laptop. All right. We left off yesterday. I think we went in on the Big Bang, man, and we at this part right now where a new reign supreme, baby. That's right. Okay. We're gonna leave off. Okay, she's Mr. Mother Hoover comes in, starts creating her beings. Okay. We left off where we had headed to Saturn. Oh, let's get right here. We right here. So we at. Now, we left off on the last part where we were talking about, hold on, let me get that chat pulled up. Rob Bot family, if you're in the building, Zimals and Zimatex. We about to get this shit cracking, cuz.
Robot, hold on, y'all. Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody hit that like button. We got 83 people. We're about to get cracking. So we left off where we had made it to this solar system where it was 4 planets. Let me show you a picture of it so you can get an idea of where we was. We were right. Hold on just a second. When they came, it was 4 planets, 4 huge planets. We're gonna come back to that part right there. We'll just look at this. So there was Jupiter, Saturn, Meldick, which was in between Jupiter and Mars, which is a bigger gap the asteroid belt will be showing it, and Tiamat. All right. Give you a quick synopsis. Start out. We came when we came to this, so we didn't land in this solar system first. When we came to this galaxy, we landed in the Centaurian star system. Then we came to Saturn, which we named Anshar. I'm just gonna give you a quick synopsis of where we were. All right, Saturn, right? And it had the rings at the time. The rings came later when it got attacked by the reptilians. All right, Saturn's got 72 moons. These moons were planets that we were making homes for other beings, like mobile homes. And we will haul them to wherever they wanted in the galaxy and set up a sun for them, set them up, put, terraform them, whatever they wanted, whatever they ordered today's specimens. Right? We already went over that yesterday. All right. They would haul them, hook up to them, not necessarily like this with a chain, but we just they get hooked. What they would do is they'd lock it in a magnetic gravity force field, like Nubaru did with the 4 ships. We're gonna go over that too, and it'll pull it with the gravity magnetic, like with a gravity type technology, and symbolic of a chain. Okay, so let's see what we got so we can get you up to speed. All right, so we went over all that, the cycles of the sun, all that. All right, so that's what we was over. So we on Saturn, and we in this solar system, and a lot of the life, because this was a new galaxy, a lot of the life was still in the first stages. The intelligent life form, the single cell amoeba stage. Says how much is the price of a planet? It depends on, usually it was in change for manual labor. Some of it was in change for manual labor. You work a certain amount of years mining on the mine force. You save up the gold that we paid in minerals. You pay in gold and different minerals, right? And you purchase a planet for you and your people, right? So just think about how much a house costs. It's like, I can't give you a price on it of how they was doing it, but I know they was doing it by because the Zados Reticuli beings and the Leo beings, they got their planets from fighting with us, and we built them planets in exchange. And some of the stuff it was stuff that we messed up, and we had to get them new homes once the crash happened. We'll get into that part. But when Mother Huber got here, she started doing crossbreedings with the birds and the insects and some of the single cell amoebas that was here underwater, and created this tadpole type creature. And then she took that, because she stepped in and broke galactical law. But at this time, no laws. When Mother Huber was doing all this stuff, it wasn't no galactical laws. The new ones wasn't on the books yet, or the creation laws wasn't on the books. So she wasn't breaking law when she was doing this. She just was doing experiment and created this tadpole type like creature, and then placed them on 2 planets. from the bird, using the bird and the insect species. All right, keep in mind, birds lay eggs. Birds lay eggs. Keep that in mind. It's going to play a connection, right? These new type of creatures will have these gills. This is before the nomos. All of them came about. Mother Huber is the mother of the reptilians and the mother of the nomos beings. They all come from the same clan. But she created these new type of creatures with gills where they can breathe in the underwater environments. Right? And these, like I say, these Anunnakis was into, they was into creating a seed and planting it and then watching it grow and then seeing it what it turned out to be. That's how they was doing, right? So these new type of creatures had gills where they could breathe underwater. That was the first, before the reptilians that walk on land, they placed them on Tiamat and Meldick, which was covered with water, and Jupiter. Jupiter is covered with water. And they got a moon called Europa that's covered with it's got a thin layer of ice around the planet, but it's got water under the ice. But these new creatures will come with gills. Right? Hey, Rob, about to everybody coming in the building. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. All right. Now, keep in mind, Atlantis is older, even though Tahuti and Ningazita, Tahuti and Ningazita is the same person. Even though Murdoch and Ningazita and Mother Ninti redesigned it, it was just, this is like the newer one. The older version didn't look like this. The one that Mother Huber designed in the Pegasus. And she stored all the DNA. This right here was a ship that stored all the DNA and specimens and seeds and things on all the creations that they was doing. And they were creating new experiments. And she brought the insects, creatures here with us on the specimens with this ship. She then landed this ship on a base, set up her base on a planet. They became a moon to Saturn called Titan. Set up her laboratory on Titan. And then she began engineering a new type of species that could breathe underwater with gills, like we said. And this is what they would look like once she placed the seed under the water on Tiamat and on Meldick. All right, this is Titan, which they told you was a moon to Saturn, but it's really a planet. And it was their home base. It was Mother Huber's home laboratory, home base. Right? Yeah, click that like button, it's free. Not only did she genetically engineer those tadpole type creatures and place them in the water on Meldick and Tiamat, she also created these 10-foot, 15-foot, some even 20-foot, one-eyed creatures to be like a slave race and a soldier race to work these planets and the mines, and to work to build these they were building these planets. And so they use these beings right here to do the work on the planets. These cyclones, they come from Titan, from Mother Huber creating them, engineering them, right? Like 10-foot, 20-foot tall giants. Okay. This is Meldick. Meldick was a planet. If we're gonna get to the Stargate part, Murdoch created the Stargate. These people were called the Gate Builders. That was one of their names. They became known as the Gate Builders when Murdoch and then Gazeta them took over. Yeah, there were cyclones. That's what they call Mustafa cyclones. Yeah, Mother Huber created them on Titan. All right, so he placed them in the water on Meldick that was about 200 million miles from the sun. They classify that as 2.1 units, A units, which is astronaut units. All right, over time of evolution from this tadpole creature that had been placed on Meldick, these beings came about. These beings are called the Meldickians or Troglodytes, right? Troglodytes, you can say it like that too, right? some of them, the leaders was 7 foot, got tall, like almost to 7 foot, but the short ones were like 4 foot tall. And they had webbed fingers and webbed feet, and they lived underwater. And some of their DNA is in humans. That's why if you spread your hands, you see the web in between your fingers. Right. So, but it was one race of them that were disagreeable, a warrior clan, that Mother Huber created these Ninja Turtle like beings. See, he looked like a turtle without a shell. Hold on, let's show you that. Let's see if I got that. A turtle without a shell. Hold up. Okay, here you go, right here. Okay, I'm gonna get to that part. Okay, let me go back. I'm gonna get to that part. All right, so okay, so on male deck, this is a species that began to evolve. There was about like 3 or 4 different types that began to evolve on male deck from the climate and the different type of planet that it was on. All right. Also, she placed the same seed on Tiamat, but they evolved a little different over time. And then some of Tiamat had land, and these beings began to evolve to walk on land. Right, these beings. This is the evolutionary period, right? I'm just gonna give you a quick synopsis of it, then we'll go back over this part later. Just want to get to the storyline. Okay, then they began to get like this, like the raptor type, right? And that, like Baba actually goes through it in detail in the Holy Tablets. We're gonna have out the Holy Tablets and the links. These pictures actually come out of the Holy Tablets, right? Here's a T-Rex. So the evolutionary period of that tadpole going up into all the way up into T-Rex and other different species. These were the first beings that came about. Over time, they eventually started becoming more humanoid. Right? You see how they become more humanoid from, right? Because from another species, because they depending on what part of the planet that tadpole was evolving at, it became different types of creatures, depending on the climate, right? Adaptation, because over periods of billions of years of that tadpole being placed in the water and the areas and climates that it was in, it began to do the adaptation. And then from meteorites hidden, from other bacteria coming on them meteorites coming, extra, because those bacteria that's coming on the meteorites, which become extraterrestrial, they began to incorporate their genetics into these beings, because they use these beings as hosts. So they incorporate so it sometimes alter the way the species look. You got to study evolution and the different things today. We might do a whole tape on that. But these beings began to start to get more humanoid and walk upright over time. All right, the tadpole beings that was on male deck, they really are Ninja Turtles. Right? Look at the Ninja Turtles. Right? If you put a shell on this dude, you're looking at a Ninja Turtle. And it was a group of them called the Ninjas, the Ninjas, who attacked Nibiru when the planet got hit. We're about to get into that too. Right? The Ninja Turtles. All right, here goes. And keep in mind the names they gave to these turtles. You got Raphael. You got Michael and Donatello. All these, that's more angelical names. Really, they fallen names because these fallens were elves. You know what I'm saying? But to get to that too. All right, so here's a chart of how it breaks down. You start out with the single cell amoeba. Over time of evolution, you start to things evolve. Then you got like the jellyfish. Then different species over time of evolution. You see right here. You see the chart. Get into the dragons 300,000 years ago. Get into the alligators. They go back a long time. They're one of the oldest creatures on the planet. Alligator and the hippo. All right, so you see how the line go. Then right here is when the Anunnaki stepped in. Right here at the 500,000. They're saying 500,000 years ago, and they made the Homo sapien, the Sans people. right here at the bottom. You see the sands lady at the bottom? So they said they stepped in right here. We're gonna get into that. Right here at the 500,000 mark of at the time of evolution. So all these species were already here before the Anunnaki got here. They made a lot of species from genetically crossbreeding and engineering all these species, but a lot of these species is already here through evolution over a period of time. Okay, let me get a shot of my tea. This is about to get good. Hey, this was the good part. Now we getting into the good shit. Hey, we'll keep it clean, YouTube. All right, so Zechariah Stitchin tells the story as if when the first time that the Leilu and them battled, that's when a Leilu got exiled, but he didn't get exiled then off of the Nubaru, right? He didn't get exiled until they found out what he had did to Lamu and them. With Lamu and his people sabotaged their ship, right? But we're gonna get to that part. All right, so if you had just not coming in, you got to go back and watch the other two tapes, part 1 and part 2. So Anu had a brother, half brother named Alelu, right? They had already had a battle, right? For the Most High chair, Anu beat him, right? It was a boom, bang, nah, bow, boom, ow, woo. It was a knockdown. It was loud. I'm telling you, I was there. I remember it. It was loud. It was real loud. It was a bang, boom, bang. You know what I'm saying? But Anu was victorious. Anu reigned supreme. Right? Anu reigned supreme. But then Leilu said that, oh yeah, you stronger than me, but are you more intelligent than me? So we need to have a competition to see who's smarter, see who got the best creation and skills. So they both got a team together, and Leilu and they start designing their own planet. Remember, we told you we was already having the planets around Saturn, making them for homes. So they just took 2 of the base models and then started modeling them themselves. And Leilu designed Neptune, and our new design Uranus. Uranus is laying on his side. You do some. We already put the whole tape out on this stuff, but we're just giving you a quick synopsis. But both of these planets were special designed. How this one right here was the house of water, Neptune, and then Uranus laying on its side but maintaining the same temperature all the way around. And keep in mind, these 2 planets, a lot of the planets on the outer outside the asteroid belt are vibrating on a higher dimension, so they speed faster on their axis. Like Earth is one of the only planets besides the planets that's inner towards the sun, is the only planets that's speeding going 24 hours that long, or 23 hours for one rotation. Like Saturn and all them other planets, they're rotating in 10 hours one day, 10 hours one rotation. But they take longer in years. We already broke all the time frames down on the tapes we call, like I got a tape called Field Trip to Saturn, Field Trip to Neptune, Field Trip to Uranus, Field Trip to Pluto, Field Trip to Venus. You know what I'm saying? So you go back and check out those tapes. We break down all the time frames on the planets and even the people that still live on those planets, right? But to make a long story short, Anu reigns supreme. Anu wins again by a long shot, right? By a long shot. And he assumes the position and takes back the throne of Nibiru. Now, at this time, this is before the crash with Tiamat. At this time, we was on an orbit we call the AM, which was, I think this is 25,920 years, I think it was. It was on 25,920 year Earth years for 1 year, for one Anunnaki year. And keep in mind, we wasn't even called Anunnaki yet, because we had not yet came to Earth, even though Mother Huber had sent certain species in capsules to under the water to start evolving. We still haven't went to nobody had landed on Tiamat yet. No Anunnaki or none of the ancients. So at this time, Nibiru was on an orbit of 25,000 years. 25,920 years, and it would make a loop around, which we and this solar system, this tri-solar system with Riz, it wasn't even created yet. We were just making that pass because we started creating solar systems as we were making this loop. But eventually, once Riz or Eliun got designed, then we started to make the orbit of 25,920 years. So that was the first orbit we called the AM. Then we later switched to a Shar. We're gonna get into that, which was 3,600 years. All right, hold up. All right, so keep in mind, while all this is going on Earth, evolution was taking place. Different creatures were coming about. Different bacteria was hitting the planet, extraterrestrial bacteria coming to the planet, coming to Earth, and mixing in with these beings as part of the evolution. And different creatures spawned. All these different types was here before the Anunnakis even got here. The dinosaurs was here before the Anunnakis landed on Earth. But the Anunnaki seeded Earth with these creatures, Mother Huber. So like I say, meteorites were hitting the Earth at times, boom, boom. And on these meteorites would be bacteria, advanced living organisms. And it's really was like a ship for them. Comets were really like ships for them. And then boom, they hit Earth, go into the water, and then that bacteria gets into on the animals that were there, and they begin to mutate, change their form to adapt to these new bacteria or these new viruses or whatever that needed a host to live in, to survive. And that once that bacteria got in them, it would alter their appearance a little to suit the environment that the bacteria was comfortable with. I'm trying to break it down simple as I can. I'm trying to break it down. I'm telling you, man, this shit is it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot. Right? So there's different pictures of meteorites hidden. And actually some of these the Anunnakis was sending on purpose later on down the line. All right, so here's a chart of the evolutionary periods. You're talking about billions of years, right? Billions of years going by in this evolutionary period. A lot of people don't believe in evolution. All right, so as like I said, that over time, the raptor, long neck type creatures began to evolve into more of a humanoid form, began to walk upright. And here goes a picture of him. Baba break all this down in the holy tablets. We keeping this simple. We ain't gonna go into all the sophisticated names of these creatures. We're gonna keep it simple as possible so a kid can see it. Three-year-old can see what's going on here. But you see, the birds are first, because a lot of people think that the reptilians, the birds came from the reptilians. No, the birds were created in a whole other galaxy before they even came to this galaxy. So some creatures were mixed in with the birds, and they began to evolve. If you pluck a bird feathers all off, you get a reptilian. That's what if you take a bird, if you take an eagle or something and peel all the feathers off of it, what you get is a dang on reptilian. But they begin to evolve these species into, because the bird genetics was in there because of Mother Huber, remember? Right? So they start to walk upright, these beings, and become more intelligent. This one got a purse, right? And they was on the earth. That's what they look like. And they were tall. They were the Watusi got this genetics, right? Also, a species called the Nagas. These beings, some of them end up getting abducted and taken after Cyrus got put together and taken the Cyrus, and they evolved into what you call the Nomos beings when they start standing under the water. The Nomos, right? It's another picture. This right here before the monkey, all of it. This is the first evolutionary stages of it. All right, hold up. All right, here's some more pictures of what they look like, these beings. You can see the features, right? These beings also set up a grid. They was responsible, them and with the Dragons later, were responsible for setting up this grid. It took them millions of years to set up this grid on Earth. Right? This magnetic grid that they was working on. This is another reason why extraterrestrials are interested in your planet, right? Extraterrestrial, right? Extraterrestrial, right? Interested in your planet is because of this grid, this magnetic grid, right? It took these reptilians, okay? They got more sophisticated and started riding animals, and you know, it was more, they started to get more intelligent over time of evolution, these beings. Okay, here's another clip. Keep in mind, we're gonna be running this one an hour long, and then we'll cut to part 4. We're gonna try to get 2 of them out tonight on you, maybe even 3 if we can. Because we started a little early tonight, we may be able to get 3 of them out. Because I really want to get to the part where the children start being born, well, all the stuff start, right? But we got to give you a synopsis on everything that's going on prior to the stuff that's gonna take place, right? So these are the creatures, right? Here's some more pictures of what they look like, right? They, like I say, some of these were being abducted after Cyrus got completed, and they became known as the Nomos, and some of them gained fins and other things from living in the water, from evoluting in Cyrus, right? So some of these beings were adopted by, once they start getting that thing, because, and the reason why they started adopting them, and this right here before certain laws was on the books, on the galactic books. The Galactic Federation, none of that was even set up yet. None of the federations in this galaxy was even set up yet when this was happening. They set up, Anunnaki built this star system. This is a new star system. It's probably no more than maybe 40 billion years old, right? Or under that. Cyrus B is the oldest star in this system, but it started to burn out, and Cyrus A is the new star. And they had a Cyrus C that's older than Cyrus B. Right? Had a star that was Cyrus B that burnt out, then Cyrus C, Cyrus B, C, B, and A. It's really a three tri-solar system. Right? Okay, so these beings were taken and took the Cyrus B and Cyrus A, these reptilians that I just showed you that's walking upright. They eventually evolved into the Nomos and a couple other species, fish-like beings. Some of them got mad, broke off, and went to Proconian star system, became known as the Nagas, who lived on a planet called Bagabuti. Right? Then part of them got, some of them got ran out of there. They left and went to the Centaurian star system and started developing more humanoid looking form, and became dark-skinned beings. We're on dark-skinned, 10-foot looking, because they got new avatars. They were reptilians and human avatars now. But to get into that. And they was on Riz. I mean, they was on Nibiru. All right, so these, from that species that we showed you that walk upright, they got took to Cyrus. This is what come about, these Nomos beings, right? And this is one of the royal families of one of the main families of this type. And they eventually evolved to look more humanoid, these beings, because they started mixing with them back with they one sect of their family called the Nagas, who became looking more humanoid, right? These Nomos. And they came down and mixed with humans later on and created humanoid beings looking Nomos. But these are the brothers and sisters, and this were a ruler of one of the tribes of the Nomos. Those who claim to know the most. You see? Hey, those who claim to know the most. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. If you want to show us some love on the Cash App, man, we take $1, $5, $10, whatever you got. Like I said, we still got those 8 books for $45 donation to the Cash App or PayPal, right? And it's not the Young Elder with an S. That's the one that's trying to scam. The one, if you see a Young Elder with the Young Elders with an S on the end, that's the one that's a scam. My Cash App is the Young Elder Quinswillian Hill. right? Because somebody sent the money to the wrong guy and say, "Oh man, y'all didn't get this." We end up sending them the books anyway, but because we show love, but yeah, but he messed up on it. Okay, says okay, damn. So the galaxy was free for all back then. Yeah. It wasn't no. In this galaxy, it was pretty much free space. Because well, I don't like to really like the word space, but it was pretty much free game because most of the life forms was still in this first evolutionary stage when the Anunnaki came. Where other galaxies closer to the bang, they were more well, farther out from the bang, they were more developed. The ones that were coming out from the bang, and keep in mind, you could think on it on this level of starting within, that we come from within, from the microcosmic. You can look at Nimbabre as a shot of I gotta think of a word. When your daddy, look, the big bang is when your daddy shoots into your mama. That shot that comes out has that's Nimbabre. And inside of that is 7 million, close to 8 million beings inside of that one ship that's trying to get to this side of the mirror. And only 1 or 2 out of that ship make it to this. Sometimes 2, most time it's just 1 being that make it to this side through the Stargate. Matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about, because we already broke it down on the last tape. But I just want to show you, okay? Now look at this. This is what my high levels beings, right? We'll get into it. Take a look. All right, so this is the Stargate. This is the woman's egg. This is, look at it, look like a Stargate. All you gotta do is put the little symbols around it and dial it up to get in. Now, this right here is a whole bunch of 7 million beings trying to get through that Stargate. Only 1 get in. 1 finds the access code, sometimes 2, 3, maybe 3, which is rare. Well, we have to make that clear, man. Go back and get that, bro. Look at that womb, that egg looked like a Stargate. Okay. I also, Mother Huber then stepped in because there wasn't no laws on the book. And keep in mind, she had intentions behind this. Her intentions was they created the reptilians to counteract the insects, just like they created the birds. The birds were doing a good job counteracting the insects, but the insects were growing too fast. So they needed a more aggressive species. They were more aggressive than the birds to counteract these insects. So these frog-like beings or these reptilians were supposed to counteract the insects, right? Just like on your planet. Like I say, all the galactical lessons is right here on your planet. Look at the food chain. Look at what eats what. And then you'll know what was created to control what by the Anunnakis. Right? So we just want to make that clear. It says the black book. Yeah. Michael Mitchell, the Holy Tablets. We're gonna have that in the links. You can read that for free. The black book, I'm about to find a link to that, but we got the black book too, though. I'm about to find a link to that black book, man. But the black book kind of go in a little bit too on like a little bit more in depth on certain parts of the Holy Tablets. Here you go, right here. So Mother Huber started with these reptilian creatures, started crossbreeding the birds back in with them to create her military. She secretly was getting ready to overthrow Anu. This is how the war began between the reptilians and us. We're about to break it down. It actually started with the humanoid reptilians, the Igigis, and us, and then these beings just were like the military, Mother Huber's military. So she started crossbreeding the birds with wings back into the reptilians, creating these flying reptilians, these Dragonians. But these were some of the first types of these creatures that she was mixing. Now you got flying creatures. And one of these jokers, hey, you see one of these in real life, they look like an airplane, like the size of an airplane, like a jumbo jet. You see one of these things flying, they like a jumbo jet in the air, and they'll eat you whole. They'll take you off and carry you on off and take care of you. All right, so some of the first flying And keep in mind, see, look at this tail, the arrow. Right? We like the natives get the arrow from. Look at that. All right. So yeah, so some of these first types of flying creatures was put together by crossbreeding the birds. Back in with reptilians, you get new types of species. Look, don't it look like a lizard, a flying lizard now. It's a flying lizard. Right? Now they got these that before, let's go back all the way there. I'm gonna show you. Right here, these right here, the flying dragons. Look at this right here. He got the gliders, this lizard. Yeah, she just kept on, but she had her intentions was to create her own military. She was creating her own military to fight and overthrow Anu. That was her plan. Her whole disguise, was, hey, the insects is about to overthrow us again, about to overtake us. We got to do something about it. What's the solution? Create a new species that's more aggressive. The reptilians, these lizards, they're gonna eat these insects. And then, but secretly, once she figured out that they was working and how powerful these beings was, she said, I can use these beings to take over. And I'm gonna create some that's venomous, some that's more vicious than the other ones. Right? And so these are some of the flying ones that she started to because she wanted to have a military ground army and a sky army. So some of the first type of Dragonians she started to create, these flying. You can see these down here right now in Mexico. They fly. Let's get a shit out of you. One of them jokers fly down on you. Right? Let's scare the mess out of you. This one is the News Reign Supreme. We're gonna go do another one after an hour long on this one. So I'm gonna make sure I get all the slides done in this section. Okay, here we go. All right, you see this here type, right? These flying Dragonians that would mix with the birds. This is some of the first types you started to get. And you also had some that without wings when she started crossbreeding back into them. Right? You see these beings? Some of these beings live on Mars. Right? These bird type live on Mars. Right? Okay. Then you got the big types, right? Start creating her military. This is her military. The ones with the spikes on the tail and the wings, those are the air military. And they end up moving to Alpha Draconis. We're gonna get into that when she went to set up her base in Alpha Draconis and took her species there. Her babies. She called them her babies. Mother Huber called them her babies. These are her babies. These are the warrior clan. See, they got the wings, right? The war had not took off yet, right, during this time. But the tensions were building. Tensions was getting tight. It was getting tight in the galaxy during this time. Because Mother Huber was just sitting back, getting her military together. Right? She created different types. Right? Here go another type. These demons. You Bible people will refer to these people as demons. Right? Keep that in mind. Bad angels. Right? You know what I'm saying? Bad extraterrestrial. See, look. Okay, so some of them born amongst these albinos will come. I mean, some born amongst these reptilians will come out albinos. So you got albino types. And they would say these albino types are royals. So they call them the royals. And they would actually put these people in charge. So this was some of the racism part is coming down from these reptilians, making the white the better. He's supreme. He's white supremacy come from the reptilians. That's where it come from albinos being born amongst them, and they lifting the albino and making him the high species because he a rare. Like this, say it might out of 100,000 of them, this might be the one that born. And so they say that he rare, and they say that he chosen by the gods. They higher ancestors. They call them the RIs. They fire beings that live in the sixth dimension. They got trapped when we fought Tanush and them. but they say that this white one is the best. You know, he's supreme. Right? They say this is what different ones look like, and they some of them wear armor and stuff like that because they a war clan, and it's different. They spread it throughout the galaxy, but their main galaxy, their home base was Titan, where they were starting to do the engineering it, but they main home base is Alpha Draconis in the Orion star system. And they spaced out throughout the galaxy through the wars, but some of them got, like, a lot of them got took out and a lot of them got imprisoned, right? Trapped in the sixth and the fourth dimensions. Limbo. Okay, here's another one with what some more look like. Some of them got the fins down the back of their head like this. The actual the Nagas actually started to look like this, but then they start to look more humanoid, but they kept the fin on their head. We're gonna show you what they look like this. They look kind of like this dude here. They start to look like this. They kept that fin from the Nomos from being underwater, but they became known as the Naga when they went to Bagabuti in the Procon star system. Then they went to the Centaurian star system with the ones with this fin. They became more humanoid looking. And them are the ones we was really fighting against, those beings right there. We're going to show you them later on in the slide. Here go what some more look like, right? Like the alligator looking ones. These are, so different species. Not only did she create and crossbreed different species, of certain species evoluted depending on what planet they was on and what type of sun and what type of climate. Through adaptation and evolution, they changed the way they looked, or became more aggressive, or became less aggressive. It depends on the situation, right? These reptilians, but she was whole time she building her military. Now, this is one of the Naga groups too. One of the Naga groups looked like this. They were muscular, half like they were starting to become more humanoid looking, but they were serpent beings. That's why the Hindus. This is the Hindu gods. The Hindus actually come from these beings when they became more humanoid looking when they got to the Centaurian star system. And then they went back to Procon and then started living on Nirvana. And these are the beings that became known as the Gigi. We're gonna break it down, but they look more humanoid when we fought against them, right? But this is one of the species, the Nagas. If you go over to India, we already showed you. These beings is why the ancient Egyptians, this being is why the ancient Egyptians wear that cobra on his head. It's because of these Nagas that come from those Hindus. We already did a take called ancient Egyptian influenced by Hindus, ancient Egyptian culture influenced by Hindus. And so that's why they wear that cobra, because they're coming from the Hindu side. And that's why if you go down and type in the cobras and Hindus, in the Hindu culture, you will see the cobra, the Naga. So we already showed all that, right? We're going to make the connection later on down in the line, though. Okay. They go another species. So it's like 18. Originally, it was like 18 different species. But a lot of species evolved through crossbreeding and mixing with other species and through adaptation and evolution, depending on the planet, like I say, in the sun that they was under, how fast their planet was rotating. A lot of things play a part in the evolution and adaptation. Right? Here goes some more what some more look like. Right, we have 48 minutes. Here goes some more look like. All right, some of them grow tails. The Nomos, some of them got tails too. The Nomos. Credo Mutwa breaks down the description of them. Some of them say got horns around their head. The royal family called a Chitauli. Right? Okay, but the ones that they didn't come in contact with the Dragos, the ones that Creto talking about, they from the same origin, but they call the Nomos. They came from Cyrus. These beings live in the Draco star system, right? Some of them live in Centaurians, and they super intelligent. They can get up in between 18 foot tall, weigh over 2 tons, a ton and a half. These beings. And they super intelligent and they can move extremely fast and they got sharp canine teeth. And some of them eat meat and they eat humans. And some of them live here right now underground. And they was here before you got here. Before you was created, they was here. They from the first species here, the reptilians. They actually rightful heir to the planet, which is why the whole commotion is going on. But the original ones, a lot of them wasn't even bad. A lot of them was benevolent. A lot of these Dragonians. But some of them went bad or got accused of being bad by the people that was in charge. Here's some more pictures of what they look like, right? Different types. We're gonna probably do another tape on the reptilians. All right, we're just gonna run you through these. So there's another type. They begin to look more humanoid, more intelligent. They show you these in all these Star Trek and Star Wars and all these movies. They show you these guys. All right? Here goes some right here, but huge, right? These right here are a certain particular type of species that's from Dragos. They actually became the priesthood bloodline called the Leviathan priesthood. So they like the high ranks. They really like they like the messengers or priests for the hierarchy called the Auras. And they like the pastors for the gods for their gods, the Auras, and they go out and spread the message to the rest of the Dragonians. They the Leviathan priesthood of the reptilians and Dragon. So they don't do no fighting. All they do is preach the gospel, preach the word of God. The word of God is what they Auras said. The hierarchy beings that got trapped in the sixth dimension. Right? Those are my two cards. Right here. Yeah, so it's a more high, another one, some more look. Right? They got different looks. Like I say, about 18 different types. Now it's more due to the crossbreed. But all these come by way of most of them by evolution and engineering crossbreeding from Mother Hoover with insects. Like you can look at this one and tell here reptilian mixed with like a ant being. Yeah, show you these people in all these movies, man. All right, here's another one type, a reptilian type. We almost to the good part, man. This right here is good stuff too, because it breaks down what we got going on here with the reptilians. Different types. I'm trying to run through this part right here fast. All right, so it's different types of these reptilians. These are the more humanoid looking ones. These actually are reptilian mixed with cone heads. You see? Reptilians mixed with Terus in a disagreeable species of the Terus. All right, they come in like a human form because they mix with humans. They show you that in like, I guess this is Simpsons or one of them. Right? And they can wear human costumes. They can put on a human flesh like a suit and wear it, and they can shade shift and look human, and you think it's a human, but it's really a reptilian. Got these type 2. Now keep in mind, meteor showers hit the earth, and some of the species will get wiped out, some of them will survive, some of them will do adaptation, and they alter the way they look, change the species. Okay, now we get into, we get into the good part. A new reign supreme. All right, so when Anu won the last competition of the design of the planets, we started going through the galaxy on a 25,920 year orbit, and we started creating different star constellations. Right? We created the Lyra, the Pleiades, Arcturus, Orion, right? And Sirius. And for my Bible, God say we started a new star order and all these star systems to be created when he took the throne for the second time. Right? So all these are new star systems. How do you know? Now Arcturus, some of these stars and some of these systems was already here. Those stars are mostly red stars. The red stars are the stars that been here the longest, like Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse was here when the Anunnakis got here. A lot of the red stars were here when the Anunnakis got here, but like the new stars, the blue stars, some of them was just born, but the Anunnakis put a lot of them there. They designed a lot of them by natural occurrence. Now, for my Bible guys, they say that God then didn't create that. Well, he tell you right here in the Bible where he said he created these star systems in Job chapter 9, where he says, which maketh Arcturus, this Arcturus right here, Orion, this Orion right here, Pleiades, and these are the south chambers, which is of heaven, and they use heaven with an S. So this is heaven, star constellations, right there in your Bible. Right there in the Bible, it tells you right there, man. For my Bible guys. Right? It says they don't like what's on the moon. Oh, better get to all that. Don't worry. It's about to get good. So that's Orion, which make it Orion. The 3 stars in Orion's belt. Rigel, Betelgeuse, which is the oldest star in Orion. About to get ready to burn out. Let's start there. Arcturus and Pleiades, the 7 sisters of Pleiades. Right there in the Bible, I just mentioned in Job chapter 9. Right? A lot of people that say that's old, right? Everybody should know that by now, right? We set up the Lyran star system and began seeding these stars, all these billions and billions of stars, millions. We began seeing it's billions and trillions of planets in this one area. And we began seeding these planets with different life from off of the life that we had evoluted. From the plants, the lion beings, the evoluted gray species became known as the Arcturians, right? And we also then we decided to build a home station inside of Lyra, which became known as Elium. Because these are the lion beings that Anu created. They actually were pets for these ancient beings. At first, they were pets. So they show you on the wall in Sumeria they had all these creatures. We're gonna get into that too, as pets. Okay, so we designed a home base or a home system called Elium, which had 3 suns, which were the 3 primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. Right? And we call it the 19th galaxy. Right? The 19th galaxy. And we stayed on the planet in these, it was 3 suns and 19 planets. Here goes a layout of what it looked like. Right? We had Shamit, Utu, and Apsu. And Riz was right here in between. It had it wasn't locked into no Pacific orbit. Now, Zechariah Stitches said that this planet, Riz, was the same name for Mothership Nubaru. And that Nubaru orbit came into this orbit like that. And that Riz was really Nubaru. That's why it wasn't locked into the orbit. And they would go on a 25,000 year orbit. That's what he said. Bible said similar, but he didn't go into how it rotated. Just said it had a rear rotation. So this is Riz and how it rotated right here, right? And this is the 3 suns of the planet, right? On Riz, we had 3 continents. 2 were for the Riskians and 1 was for the visitors. Right? We had 3 continents. So I'm looking at the comments. But to get into it, man, Anu reigns supreme. All right, if you want to get some more information on this, we also got a book from Malachi Z. York, our master teacher, to go along with all the other books that we got for this research, from a book called Man from Planet Riz. Right? You can probably get that on, I think, Scribe. Right? You get that on Scribe. Keep in mind, Anu also set up a business. This right here was before Raziel was born. Raziel wasn't born then. He from the same clan era as me, Raziel. But he a new son though. He a Raziel II. He got put in control of this business. But before, when the new first set it up, he needed materials and minerals to run this business. He needed gold. He needed crystals. It was a list of minerals that he had on that list, like 2,000 minerals that he had on that list that they was collecting to make all these different devices that Riz Tech. So but the main substance they were using was crystal and gold. That's why if you know how much, just to think about it, think about Mothership New Jerusalem from our Christian guys that's mentioned of in Revelations 21, where it goes into a 1,500 square mile city made out of solid crystal and gold. So you can imagine how much gold they were using to make these crystal cities. So they needed gold and diamonds and rubies and these different stones to make their 0-point energy modules and their notes. The notes were like fuel cells for these type of ships that they were flying. So they started a project to where they started excavating different planets, and they needed workers and they needed those minerals, especially gold. All right, it's some of the technology they was working on. This is actually Murdoch's ship right here, one of Murdoch's ships. All right, so here go some of the minerals. They needed gold, titanium, right? Element 115, which is Omicron. They needed the stones to make the 0-point modules. Titanium. They needed limestone for the filters on their craft. And stones, and this material is called Naquata. We made the Murdoch made the stargates out of this material, 125. So all these elements need to be mined, and and some of this don't even grow on Earth, like the Naquata don't even grow on Earth. But Earth do have, and titanium is on Earth, but not that much. At some planets that got way more titanium they was doing mining on. But the limestone, the crystals, and the gold was heavenly on Earth. So that's why they was coming here for Earth to get that for the Riz Tech program. And they were building all different sorts of types of ships and selling them around the galaxy. Here go the crystals they needed to make those 0-point energy modules. It was different colors that they used. Right? Here go how I want them to look, the 0-point energy modules. Different color stones. Right? We almost to the good part. They needed limestone. The Anunnakis needed limestone because what they do is they grind this up to a fine powder and put it in this machine, and they use it to filter out the air on their crafts. I'm gonna show you what they look like. Okay, this is what the machine looked like. They turn it into they grind it up real good, put it into a powder, and they use it to filter out their air system on their ships. It's like an air filter. So they needed this limestone for their ships, for to breathe on them. Once they get this right here pulls gas from the space and convert it and filter it out to where they can breathe it. So they can breathe in space on their ship without having a mask on. Right? That's what it looked like. It's like a milky substance. All right. So they was building these big, huge crystal cities, right? New Jerusalem. We talk about that in the Bible for my Bible guys. Revelations 21. And so that's right here. This ship is 1,500 square miles. That means 1,500 square miles tall, 1,500 square miles long, and with height, width, and length. So you do the math on how much gold that is, and diamonds and rubies. That is. How rich is God? How rich is Anu? He bagged off 1,500 square miles of city out of gold and diamonds. How much diamonds and gold they need to build that long? That type of that shit. That's big, almost 2/3 of the United States, the size of the United States. Or for gold and diamonds, right? And Crystal City right now sits right above the hole in the earth to control the center sun. And it's also up there for like an ark and for like a house like a state a way station for the elders, right? And as like a Noah's Ark, just in case the planet get destroyed again, they abduct a certain amount of people and take them to this crystal city up there, 1,500 square miles. They give you the specimens in Revelations 21, right? Go read that. It's 1,500 square miles, 12 different floors, streets of gold, rivers. It's got all of the stuff that Earth got inside. It's got plants, water, food, all the plants that's in there. You can eat some and they heal. They heal any sickness. There's no crying, no sorrow on this place, according to what Revelations talk about. The pain is no more. God is in this city. God is with them, right? Inky, Tammuz, whoever they like is in there with them, right? That's what they say, right? So it was different types of crafts. These are different specimens for the designs for the different crafts that we were making, depending on, really, we was making the crafts depending on what planet they lived on and galaxy, depending on what they wanted. For their people, they was, because some of these people were like 4 foot tall. So we made crafts conducive to them for 4 foot height. Then we made crafts conducive for niggas that were 15, 10 foot tall, right? So it's different specimens of the crafts that we were designing, right? And here goes some of them right here. Some of them we sold these to different species around the galaxy. Depends on how much money they got, and not necessarily money like you got down here, but a mineral wealth or what they had to offer. So they had a planet already and they had a mineral, and they say, oh, we got this mineral that you don't that we can mine for you and give to you in exchange for you building us a couple ships. And we was like, all right, cool, we'll build you a couple ships, you give us that mineral. Boom, that's how we was doing it. We was just on a bargaining universe. The galactic system, money system, is on a bargaining system, not the money system like down here. Although some species do got the similar money system that you got, and they use a credit card system, and that credit card system actually comes from Ashtar Command. Ashtar Command was the first one that implemented it. But this right here is more ship designs. You gotta know it's billions of thousands, millions of different types, depending on what creatures, what kind of specimens they wanted. We were designing all kinds, right? And here's a whole bunch, just a whole bunch of different types of UFOs, right? That we were designing. Some look like a cross, some look like an egg, some look like a spin top. So they don't tell them what you can see when we was designing all these different crafts. Okay, here go another picture. Okay, of some different shapes, right? You got ones that look like pyramids, ones that look, they are different types, right? We was designing all different types for underwater beings. We designed crafts for underwater beings that lived underwater. We designed dome cities. Okay, and we also created these robots. Okay, since that we breathe hydrogen, we had to create a particular species to be able to go into certain planets where we couldn't breathe. So we went to Mars and created these Remodians, right? And they were created billions of years ago. They're not older than the Asgards, but they are descendants of the Asgards because we use the same cloning techniques that we use with the Asgards to make these graves, right? And they were supposed to be not a military because we weren't in a battle at this point. They were supposed to be explorers to go out, explore planets, figure out they had the minerals that we need. They really was part of a news business for Riztech. They really was supposed to go out, find the minerals, or say, okay, it's minerals here. We need to send beings here to work the mines, or send machines here to work the mines. And so that they would send the word back, boom, we would put some people on it and start collecting that mineral. That's what they was originally created for at first. And we had made a promise to these beings that if they worked for us for a certain amount of years, billions of years, we would release them and they would give them their own star system. And we eventually did. Look at Krill, tears about to come from his eyes because he know I'm telling him everything. You know what I'm saying? And different species came about from these graves. because the reptilians were catching them and crossbreeding to make their own genetical bad race called the marker beings. Right, we're gonna get into them too. Let's see. So this is Krill's cousin right here. He controls another species that come from about like 27 light years away. But he came here and the KGB filmed him. He is 7 foot tall, gray. One of the originals. It was 200 originals. 200 original 7 foot tall grays, and from them they make clones, and these are little robot 4 foot beings. These big tall 7 foot beings control them like a robot, like a remote control or something. Like they brain controls like a hive. They work like a hive. And so the 7 foot being is like the main being. And then like say he may have 200 million, between 2 million and 200 million little guys under him, and he can control all of them mentally. All of them, he the master of all of them. Like because like at one point we was in the room and some of the little grays was in there, and then they were playing around and shit. And then when the big gray came in, they just sat down and act be good because they were scared of this big being. So he got to be like the captain or something. And when they get act right, the little ones act right when he come around, right? They don't play around. They know he don't play around, this being. But the KGB ended up filming him when his ship crashed in Russia. But they turned them. For some reason they let them go because them 200 million guys would have came down here and got their captain back. This is a scientist from a particular one of the other particular species. We actually got a whole maybe about 10 tapes on the grays already, so we don't want to go too far in on the grays. And in the book of the extraterrestrial, we break down like most of all the 70 species that were the original species in the book of extraterrestrials. Like I said, we still got those 8 books for $45 donation, and the book of extraterrestrial is one of those books, and we break down maybe about 400 different species in that book, right, of the extraterrestrials, right? It's different types of the grays. We'll try to go through these last couple pictures real fast. So it's different type of species. The original Pt.3s are the same beings. The Anunnaki and the Pt.3s really are the same beings. These white ones really came about later through the slave trade. We'll talk about them later. And these Arcturians are just grays. They got started mixing in with other species as they went to other galaxies. Oh, look. So, like I said, we set up a base on Mars and start engineering these grays or these Remodians, right? But these were the first. That's when we set up a laboratory. When we first set up the laboratory on Mars, we started engineering these grays to be explorers. All right, let me see how far I go. Okay. Let me see how far I got. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so we're gonna come back on that one. That'll be the last one we go over. We'll come back on that one. Starting off with the Mother Hoover transforming the Dragonians into humanoids. So we'll come back on that one. We made it to an hour mark, and we're gonna be back at 8:30, a little bit before, maybe before 8:30, with the 4th installment. So we might do 2 tonight, and then we'll do 2 tomorrow until we get the whole. But I really want to get up to the part. Like I say, we got 800 slides in this. We got 800 slides in this presentation. So, and we like only on slide. We're on slide 160 now, and we are on our 3rd tape. So I calculate it's probably gonna be about another 6 or 7 tapes that we're gonna have to do to get them all out. We're on slide 160, and really it's really more than that, more than 800, because I put slides in between slides because I had to add more slides. When we come back, we're gonna talk about how Mother Hoover start engineering and making the Dragonians more humanoid, so she can use them to infiltrate Saturn and Risk. So we're gonna come back on that part. The next the fourth installment is gonna be the war tensions building. I may call it the scheme and plot or something. I'm gonna call it something, but it's gonna be part 4, and then we're gonna go into the part where Mother Huber started making the Dragonians more humanoid, and then this where the war started, the tension started building for the war. So we're gonna be back on that, man. So tune back in at 8:30. Like I say, you want to get those books, we gonna send them to you right now. $45 donation to the Cash App, PayPal. All 8 books in PDF form. Be sure to leave your emails in the link so I can send you your books right then. So we'll be back at 8:30, y'all. Tune in. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom alaikum. Hotep. Divine love throughout the balanced universe to all.